Hi guys, so today we're going to apply matrices, meaning we're going to use what we learned with inverse multiplying matrices from the last topic to actually solve for x and y with it. So if you look here, you're solving a system of equations. This is just like saying the system of equations that you were given to solve with elimination, substitution, graphing. We're now going to find another method to solve them, which are matrices. So notice our goal is to get x and y by itself. It's being multiplied to that first matrix. So notice step one, I put down to divide by matrix 1. So what I'm going to do is eliminate it and get x and y by itself by dividing both sides by this first matrix I have. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. But as you remember in the other section, we didn't have anything with dividing matrices. So what you're actually going to end up doing is moving that first matrix up by finding its inverse. So we can move it up by finding its inverse. Remember, for exponential functions, you can change the power, the sign of the power, and it will move up from the denominator to the numerator or the numerator to the denominator just by changing the power of the exponent. Not that you have to remember that, but just showing the proof here. So notice that all I'm doing is dividing by matrix 1 and finding its inverse. So I have to find this inverse first before I can start multiplying. So remember the template, A, B, C, and D. So I'm only focusing on this first matrix, A, B, C, and D. I'm going to first reorder it, meaning I'm going to put D up here, so 2 is going to be in the first row, first column. I'm going to change the sign of B, so since B is positive, it's going to be negative here. For C, it stays in the same spot, remember, and I just change the sign of it, so instead of positive 1, it'll be negative 1. And then the only thing that really happens with A and D is that they change places. But if you look at A, it's also 2, so we'll just put another 2 down here instead. And we're not done yet. We're still finding the matrix, so I'm still working on this part. Now, to find its inverse, I have to put 1 over, and I'm going to take AD minus BC. So remember we did this in the last section. AD minus BC just means you're going to cross multiply. So I have 2 times 2 minus 3 times 1. And that would give me 4 minus 3, which is just 1. So I have 1 over 1. So what I'm doing here is just finding the matrix inverse. The good thing is 1 over 1 is 1. If I multiply everything here by 1, it still stays the same. So nothing changes here. And now I'm going to multiply it. Remember, you haven't used this second matrix yet, this 5 and 4. So now I'm going to multiply it. So again, in purple, all I'm doing is following this template to find the inverse of matrix 1. So that's all the work here. And then afterwards, I drop down the second matrix, that 5 and 4. And for step 2, we're about to multiply. So here's where the real work comes in. Let me just move this matrix over, and we're going to get ready to multiply these 2 matrices. So this first one, again, was 2, negative 3, negative 1, and 2. And the second matrix was 5 and 4. And just showing you, again, that's what equals to xy. So remember, on the other side of the equal sign, we got the matrix xy by itself. So that is what we're solving for when we multiply. So how are we actually going to multiply matrices? Because last time we did it, it was only 1 row, 1 column. So in this case, remember to take note of how many rows and columns there are. So for the first matrix, there's 2 rows. Rows go horizontally, and 2 columns. So the first one is a 2 by 2. I'm going to put that underneath. So the first one is a 2 by 2 matrix, meaning 2 rows straight across and 2 columns, which are vertical. The second matrix has 2 rows, so 2 rows, and it only has 1 column. So when I'm done, first and last, I should end up with a 2 by 1 matrix, meaning I'm only going to have 2 rows and 1 column when I'm done. All right, so how do we actually start this whole multiplication process? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each number in the first row and multiply it by each number in the first column. So I'm going to take first row, multiply it by the number in the first column. So 2 times 5 plus first row, still multiplying by the first column, negative 3 times 4. Okay, and then from there, I'm going to take the numbers in the second row and multiply it by all the numbers in the only column I have, which is the first column. So I'm going to take negative 1 and multiply it by 5. Plus 2 times 4. And that's it. So you're multiplying the numbers in each row by the numbers in each column. And then from there, I have, well, let me take a sidebar here and simplify. So I have 10 plus negative 12. And for the second one, I have negative 5 plus 8. So if I take 10 plus negative 12, that would give me negative 2. If I have negative 5 plus 8, that would give me 3. And remember to bring this down. We haven't used this at all, but now that we're done, that's what x and y are. So they kind of line up right there. So x equals negative 2 and y equals 3. And also notice this is a 2 by 1 matrix when I'm done. So 2 rows, 1 column. So that lets you know you multiplied correctly. All right, guys, hope this helps.